controversial coping mechanisms.
On this episode of Simply Necessary Conversations.
I gave myself a tongue twister with that intro. So trending topics, we're live on TikTok right now. So everyone say hi to TikTok.
Hi, TikTok.
Our imaginary viewers that are in studio that aren't in studio. But everyone is talking about just world problems right now. As of this taping, we have not entered World War III, but there's rumors that
it could be.
We're on the brink now.
We could be on the brink.
And I just want to talk about, because my generation is a very unserious generation. Your generation is a very unserious generation.
No,
we've seen some things.
Yeah,
we've seen some things. We've experienced some life. And I just took a screenshot of myself. That's crazy. And I feel like a lot of people are joking about a lot of serious topics like genocide or protests or a potential war breaking out. And is that inappropriate, or is that just like the American way of coping with the drama that is just the world right now?
There's coping, and then there's being stupid. Comedians
true.
have said for years, I will never forget Miss Elizabeth Johnson, my senior AP English teacher, who told us that the definition of comedy is that at which you would laugh. No, that at which you would cry if it was more serious, but you laugh when it's not serious. So, for example, if somebody slips down, falls down, and they're not hurt, you laugh. But if somebody falls down and they're seriously injured, then you don't. And I think Americans in general have lost the ability to distinguish the difference. I think that there are things that are very serious that people are taking lightly and making fun of, or not even like giving a second thought. And it's getting to the point where we're getting numb. It's the frog in the pot thing. They say if you put a frog in a pot of cold water and slowly heat it up, the frog will get comfortable as it warms up, and eventually it's boiling and it'll kill them off. But they didn't start out hot. And I think America is a frog in a pot right now. The water is slowly heating up, and we're just sitting in it, about to be boiled in our own stew. So, yeah, I think, everybody is, you need to be able to laugh at some things. You need to be able to not take something seriously. But I think America has I don't want to
tell people what they can and can't laugh at. Because I do feel like it's a healthy way to cope in terms of for example, the World War III jokes that are just all over the internet. I feel like, you know what? All we can do is laugh. All we can do is have a key. Because if something like that were to happen, an average person can't do anything about it. Like, it's not like if a congressman was laughing, or if the president was laughing, then that would be inappropriate, because they have the power to change things or to influence things or to govern and decide what happens and what our futures look like. But a regular everyday person can't influence what's happening internationally, can't influence some of the stuff that people are making jokes about. So I feel like the only thing we can do is check out. And if you choose to laugh, you choose to laugh. If you choose to cry, you choose to cry. But we are literally just sitting, waiting to see what happens in the world.
I respectfully, wholeheartedly disagree. I could not disagree more. I think that our reaction is going to dictate the reaction of the people that represent us in Congress.
I don't think that at all.
Our reaction, well, it should. Maybe it doesn't, but it should. Our reaction is going to dictate how Congress reacts. Congress should dictate how the president reacts and how the Supreme Court reacts and how the rest of the world reacts. If we sit back, this is how we got to where we are now. This is how we got the people that are in office that maybe should not be in office, is because people sat back and kind of laughed and made jokes about. For years, people were joking. Our current president, it was a joke that he would ever become president years ago. Like, people joked about that. And look, here we are. I think it's almost like ignoring child abuse. Like, if you say, oh, Uncle Frank really loves young girls. Oh, ha, ha, ha. Uncle Frank really loves young girls. After a while, the family becomes numb to it, and everybody, and Uncle Frank is a serial molester, and nobody has done anything.
All we can do is laugh.
No. The opposite of laughing, I think, is appropriate at this time. You need to be blowing up Congress's phones. You need to be. Like inundating them
but
with concern,
that's not going to do
complaints.
anything. At this point,
Well,
that's not
then,
going to do anything.
well, if that's the case, then we all might as well become bank robbers and go get whatever we can and live the rest of our lives. Yes,
some people feel that way.
Well, some people may feel that way, but I think they're absolutely foolish and wrong. If that's the case, why do we even have a government? We might as well just go ahead and have anarchy and chaos and just call it a day.
I mean, we're not too far from that.
Well, see, it's that attitude right there is how we got what we got.
But no, I don't think.
Well, why did? Okay, let me get
that.
real serious for a minute. Why did the slaves even try to not be slaves anymore? Why not just like if you on a good plantation and they're treating you good and that's that. Why did the civil rights people that marched in the civil rights who felt like they were never going to see some of these rights, never going to see them, but they marched anyway, and here we are.
That's true.
That attitude that's we can't have that.
But if you think about it, that was only able to happen because of other political things that were going on that the government basically was just like, okay, we'll give them this.
Okay, but those other things were happening combined with what the civil rights activists were doing caused a change.
I'm not saying
you can't just wave it off.
The average person, all you could do was vote, and if you didn't vote for the right person in whatever opinion that you have,
that's not true. All you can do is vote. You can vote, and like I said, you can be vocal. You can march. You can call your Congress people. You can stay. I'm not going to use the word, but you can stay on there. Yes, until somebody does. If you let them know that their job in Congress is in jeopardy, if you let them know that we will put you out of there, then I think they'll respond better.
I truly think we're past that because people have done that. People did that, and it didn't work.
People haven't been seriously doing it because we've never had. This is unprecedented.
People have been seriously
Well, I shouldn't say never because history does.
People have been seriously.
History doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. We've had similar situations, and the only thing that got us out of those similar situations were people staying vocal. Somebody going and sitting at a lunch counter and getting food dumped on them, in theory, is not going to do anything. But they did it. They did it. They did it until people started hearing about it other places. They did it until other people started saying, that's disgusting, that's a disgrace, let's do something about it. It takes every drop of water to fill a bucket. And if you stop being that drop of water, then
I think you can simultaneously make a joke out of the reality of our life.
You can have humor in your activism, but you can't have just humor. You can't.
I don't think you can have just humor, but speaking solely from my generation, there is nothing that we can do. Because if you do too much, then you lose your job. If you do a lot, then you're going to jail.
You can do things in a thoughtful, strategic way.
But
do matter. You can do things that do matter.
I really feel like we are past the thoughtful that don't matter anymore.
So then what's the purpose of getting up, going to work? What's the purpose of doing anything?
And that's what people are talking about.
Okay,
that's
well,
what
I'm
a lot
not
of people
there.
are talking about.
Those people, then that's the definition of suicidal, and that's where you are. That's where you are. I'm not there yet. I'm not ready to call it a day.
I think a lot of people are just focused on doing what they can do in their lives and not worrying about the world. Because you can't worry. There's too much going on.
You are a part of the world. If they start to make restrictive laws against minorities and women, if we keep sitting back, letting them
has already happened.
Okay. So if that's the case, everybody might as well just call it a day and just start partying every day until they come pick you up. That's what that sounds like. Just start partying every day until they come pick you up.
I'm not understanding what you think there is to do at this point. We're not in an election year. We're not like we can't re-elect
And here's
people.
the thing too, because I'm a firm believer of breaking rules. I ain't breaking laws, but I will break a rule. We're not in an election year traditionally. But the people in office have not been following tradition. So how about we don't follow tradition either? How about just like January 6th protesters stormed the Capitol for a certain purpose, those of us that are not of the mindset
rioters?
Whatever. Just like they did what they did and got away with it and were pardoned, those of us that are on the other side, let's start marching up in there.
So you're asking people to risk their lives and risk their jobs.
Okay, so here's what I say. Here's what I say. Here's what I have to offer. If you're already at the point you're suicidal, why not risk your life for a cause?
I don't think people are suicidal.
Because what you're saying to me is suicide if you're going to just sit back and let them keep doing what they're doing. Because eventually they're going to Handmaid's Tale.
But what you're talking about is very Hunger Games. It's very District 12.
You are saying
people
on one hand,
about to do that.
But you're
that's
saying
unrealistic.
on one hand that that's where we are. If that's where we are, then let's be.
I feel like the best thing for people of color, specifically for Black people, specifically for young Black people, is to keep doing what you're doing, go to work every day and hope it gets better.
But if you just sit back and hope it gets better and keep doing what you're doing, you're doomed anyway. Like, you're doomed anyway.
I think people have been marching since 2021 about some of this current day stuff.
Okay, people have been slavery voting. Lasted hundreds of years, but it ended
and the
eventually.
only reason that slavery ended was because of politics. Slavery didn't end because people were just so gracious and
whatever the case
black
may be.
people to
and
be
then
free.
Jim Crow ended eventually.
They're still gerrymandering.
Well, I personally, God rest the dead, my daddy has taught me all my flipping life, and he's gone now, but I'm a stand on what he told me. I would rather die on my feet than live on my damn knees.
Okay, but I'm
going to die on my feet before I live on my knees.
It's realistic to be telling people to go and risk their livelihoods.
I'm not saying risk your life. I'm not saying a phone call doesn't risk your life.
A phone call, it doesn't do anything.
Okay, a phone call, peaceful protest. There's ways to get things done, and I would be a fool to sit here on in the public and say, but there's ways to get stuff done. People just got to be serious enough and angry enough to do them.
Somebody that knows the people that was out there protesting, and Tripura, for example, very big advocate for the causes that she believed in, did all of that work, did phone banking, did everything that you could possibly do as a person.
Mm-hmm.
Still didn't get what they needed to get done.
Okay, I'm full of sayings and analogies. You eat an elephant one bite at a time. You're not going to ingest an elephant in one bite. You eat an elephant one bite at a time.
I think as Black people specifically, we've done all there is to do. We've done all that we could.
No, we haven't. And I thank God that this generation was not the generation that was in slavery, nor in the Jim Crow generation, because we would have been screwed.
This generation has saved us from a lot. I think we've done enough.
Granted, you never done enough. But granted, this generation is active in a way that maybe us in the older generations are not. But it takes a combination of the two methods. It takes a combination.
I think you are thinking about things of the past when tradition was followed.
I'm looking at.
I think you're thinking about when tradition was followed and when, for example, not to call parties, but when Nixon discovered the stuff that he was doing, and they were just like, okay, we're going to snatch you out and you're going to... We don't do that no more here in America. That doesn't exist anymore.
We're not French, so don't say we, because they're not us.
America doesn't do that anymore.
Okay.
We are not holding our leaders accountable. America needs to get back to doing that. America needs to get back to doing that, and I'm not ready to give up hope yet. I'm not ready to give up hope because I'm not giving up hope, but I'm also not willing to risk my life.
You're not going to have a life. You're not going to have a life. Based on what you're saying, if you're not willing to risk your life, nobody else is going to risk their life for you. So if you're not fighting for the things that are important for you, nobody else is going to fight for them. It's that poem when they came for blah, blah, blah. We didn't say anything. They came for blah, blah, blah. We didn't say anything. And then eventually there was nobody to say anything when they came for us. That's the way that you're talking. I would rather die on my feet than live on my knees.
Okay, so what are you doing to change things? You're not doing nothing to change things because there's nothing you can do.
I'm being vocal as I'm being here. I'm talking to other people that are like-minded. Strategizing. No plan. No worthwhile plan can be executed without strategy.
That's like when there's a school shooting and government officials come out and say thoughts and prayers. That don't mean nothing to nobody.
I get it.
That doesn't do anything.
I'm not a thoughts and prayers person. I'm a prayer person and I'm a thought person, but that's not where I think it should stop. Especially recently, and I will confess, I haven't been as motivated as I should have been. But recently, and I won't say to who, but I've been reaching out to people saying, hey, what we gonna do? Hey, do you see what's going on? Hey, like what's your thoughts on this? There are like-minded people, and it always starts. The Underground Railroad, any movement that has been worthwhile and purposeful, it starts slowly and then it rises. I'm currently late to the program watching Handmaid's Tale, and it is terrorizing, and I'm looking at it thinking, oh my God, there was a time when I would have watched this and thought, oh, dystopian movie, dystopian novel, this is funny, ha ha ha, this could never happen, this is crazy, entertaining, but crazy. Now I'm looking at that thinking, you know what, people, if we don't stop, but even with that, watching that, and it's fictional, I'm not delusional, I know it's fictional, but even in that, those women that are being subjugated, they're rebelling. I mean, obviously, this is a slight spoiler, but it shouldn't be. They're rebelling. At a point,
I feel like in order for people to be willing to risk their lives have to physically be in danger.
In order for people to risk their lives, sometimes they have to realize that their lives are in jeopardy. Those that are of the mind that we're just going to keep watching. I don't think
anybody from my generation, everyone that I know personally and that I see on social media, we all know that our lives are in jeopardy in some way or another because of something or another.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Like,
the difference
there's
between them and some older generations that know what it was like in the past, and I'm not trying to say, because I didn't come up in the Jim Crow era, I'm not that old, but I can remember observing my parents as my brother and I went to integrated schools because they never had that. I saw
I
their nervousness.
understand
I
that,
saw
but
what
I
they went
still,
through.
even within the racism that this country was built upon,
Mm-hmm.
there was still some sense of law and order and reasonableness and, okay, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, and tradition.
Mm-hmm.
That does not exist anymore.
You know what, though?
I feel like we are past the scope
Maybe.
of complaining about racism and sexism in terms of within the lens of government. There is no tradition.
Well, see,
there is no precedent. Everything is
and you know what?
unprecedented.
And this is somewhat my fault, I guess. This is somewhat my fault. And maybe the difference between me and you in this moment is I was raised in a church. I was raised in a church, and I read.
That would be even more reason to feel like there's nothing to be done.
Not if you was raised in a church
If
and
you're
read
raised
the Bible
in
and
church,
believe
you
the
think
Bible.
Jesus is coming back and you just waiting on him to get here.
No. You ask not. I mean, you have not because you ask not. I believe, from a Christian perspective, God is not mocked. He neither slumbers nor sleeps. He knows what's going on. He is watching, and the wicked will never be triumphant for an
That's just, I still
unprecedented
feel
time.
like that
They're not
aligns
gonna.
with what I'm saying.
No. Faith without works is dead. Faith without works is dead. The works part is on us. The faith part is on us. Faith without works is dead.
personally think,
So we need to get to doing the
I
works, is
personally
all I'm
think
saying.
that we just waiting on Jesus to come back and
No,
send
I'm
us
not.
on up.
I'm not, because I'm not, like, no.
Beam me up.
No, I don't think that's like I said, I was raised in a church, and there was a lot of waiting on the Lord and not being discouraged, but there was also a lot of activism.
I feel like there has been a lot of, we did that. Didn't work.
No, we did that, and it did work, and things move in cycles. We have had ebbs and flows. Things move in cycles. We were enslaved, and when I say we, I mean my ancestors, because I've never been enslaved. We were enslaved. The people cried out to God, prayed, and put some work with it. We had our Nat Turner moments or whatever, and slavery ended with the help of allies from all kinds of places, all kinds of directions. And then Jim Crow happened. They cried out to God again. They put some work behind it. That was it. So this right here is nothing new. And the devil is a liar if he thinks that a whole generation of people, especially people that have seen this before. And I'm gonna say this. Now, the one thing that I'm putting my money on your generation, on younger people, is y'all don't like to be told what to do. Y'all are not gonna go quietly. Y'all will not go quietly into that good night. Now, with older people like us that have the past experience with some guidance and working together, we can get past this.
I think we're at the point that if something is going to change, it's going to literally just be a civil war.
Well,
I think
that
is the point where obviously if there's a civil war, then either you're going to kill yourself or you're going to kill somebody else. That's the point that, like, that's the point where it is.
I have worked in public education. The people that I have dealt with, they're not going to go quietly. But what I'm
saying is right now, in terms of the prospect of a World War III, I'm just hoping not to get sent out with the troops. That's literally it. You can't control that.
We can't control that.
Like, yeah, you can people protest in Vietnam. That didn't keep people from dying.
Okay, we can't control that to a certain degree, but you can control the things that you do and the things that you allow within your power. And to just lay down and let somebody dictate to you what's going to happen to you. I don't see a lot of the younger people, especially. I don't see them just saying, okay, you want me to just be at your beck and call, I'm going to do it.
But I don't think we're at the point of now people are going to go, because when I say risk, when you're a minority and you go out and protest, you're risking your life. I don't think it's worth risking your life right now, in my opinion. I'm not finna do it. Knock yourself out if you want to.
There has always been a Malcolm and Martin way of doing things. There has always been the Martins who were going to protest peacefully and sit in, and the Malcolms who were going to go out there and get in people's face.
Even that was very orchestrated in a way that the average person, because I'm not talking about leaders, I'm not talking about people I'm talking about the average person who has a 9-to-5 and debt and a mortgage and kids and bills to pay. I'm not talking about people that are either dedicating their whole life to a cause and forsaking having a normal life, or people that are elected officials that are either not doing anything or trying to do things within the best of their ability.
It's up to the people that are dedicated to causes and that are dedicating their entire lives to motivate the people who are not. There was a lot of people. There were a lot of slaves that said, no, massa is good to me. I don't want
I
to
just
run.
feel like
And then Harriet said with a gun to their head, you gonna run or you gonna die. We're gonna have a lot more Harriets.
I think that people that are struggling to pay their light bill are not concerned about what's going on right now in Israel. That's just the fact of the matter.
They're not concerned until it hits home. It may have to hit home.
If you are, that's like right now, if somebody shoots me in the chest, but then over there kids are dying, I'm more concerned about my chest right now.
And that's logic. Like that goes without saying. Yeah.
So in a way that you can't, like, I feel like the topics of like wars and genocides and things like that, things that people are really protesting about, are so grand to a scale. It's so out there. It's so hasn't happened in 100 years that people are not concentrated on that, and I don't expect people to be concentrated on that because it's really unrealistic to even care about it.
Well, it's kind of like I said, I've worked in public education, and when I have gone into classrooms, there's a lot of times when there are kids that have potential, that want help, that are studious, that are going to be respectful, that I can help, and then there's kids that don't care, that are going to be disruptive, whatever. And it back to the analogy that you use, I would tell them, and I still tell them, I can't make them do anything. I can't make them care. I'm going to present to them material, information as best I can and hope that they're willing to buy in to help themselves. So there's me in the classroom hoping maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. But when I was educating you, you were under my jurisdiction and it was going to happen. Like I could tell you this is how it's going to go. These kids over here, I can say, this is how I would like for it to go. I want to help you. If you want the help, you can take it. So you always are operating. Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Can't remember if that's the correct title, but something of that nature. He said there is a circle of concern and a circle of influence. You always operate in your circle of concern, hoping that you can make a difference, but in your circle of influence is where you know you're going to make a difference. So all I'm saying is to everybody out there listening, everybody under my voice, operate in your circle of influence. The things that you can do them. The circle of concern, try to have an effect on that as much as you can, and your circle of influence hopefully will ripple out to your circle of concern and things will move. But nothing has ever happened when people just threw in the towel and said, I'm not going to try. And all I'm saying is if you decide that you're not going to try, now you're suicidal, you might as well go ahead and jump off the cliff, because if you leave your fate in somebody else's hands, they're going to.
It's very understandable to say that if someone is not going to do something about World War III. I think that's completely understandable.
I know that I'm not taking up arms and going and fighting World War III, but what I will do is, like I said, reach out to local and national political figures and say, hey, this is not supposed to be happening, or, hey, why aren't y'all doing something? If they're made uncomfortable enough, they will either act or leave office. But one of the two, this is where we got to be as American citizens. You either act or leave office. And we got to say it, and we got to mean it, and we got to stand behind that.
I think government is a joke, to be honest. So
it's pretty pathetic right now.
I'm not even just right. I think the concept of government is a joke. But I just feel like talking and like some of these people, no shade, no tea. Some of these people are so old that if World War III happened, it ain't going to change much for them anymore.
And that's why they're acting the way that they do. They know they got one foot in the grave and one in the banana peel. Banana peel.
Calling somebody that is 80 years old.
Okay, so you just told us some of the policy things that we need to look for. If you are beyond a certain age, we need you. And please do not come for me saying this ageism and older people, blah, 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 because I'm old myself. I'm officially, in this month, a senior citizen.
Okay, but like we don't need to have elected officials that are 80.
And I was going to say, so what we need to do is people that don't have a whole lot more years to live on this earth should not be making decisions about what's happening on this earth in a certain kind of way, especially when they're not acting in the best interest of the people. So that may be our first step. Let's start cleaning out Congress. Let's get rid of some of these people that don't give a crap about what's going to happen because they know they're not going to have to live through it. We need to start cleaning out Congress. Just like the president has to be a certain age to run for office, we should also have a thing that says president can't be but so old because he does not have the same interest in what's going to happen to the world. I right now feel like some of what's being done is because somebody feels like they ain't got crap to lose.
Well,
They ain't got crap to lose.
Well, we
so
know
now
that.
we need to make people feel like they got something to lose.
I feel like
the decision makers need to feel like they got something to lose,
and I feel
so
like,
that
honestly,
they will make better decisions.
There's too many old people that are, like you said, one foot is in the grave. So if a bomb hits them, oh well, just a couple years off their life. No shade. But I also think that the one thing that I do think works is because everyone is money hungry is hitting the economy.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like boycotting certain places, like, certain places that I won't shop anymore. I won't say.
See how you're being active?
But I think, I genuinely think that's the only way to get through to all of these people. Because the people that are in charge right now, I feel like just care about money.
Acknowledge that you just said there is something that can motivate people. It may be financial.
I think I feel like there's something that can motivate law or like Congress and the president and stuff, and that is money.
Okay, well then there's where you contribute by encouraging people to take that action.
Appealing to like their humanity is
no,
BS.
There's no humanity
no
in
humanity
Congress.
in
At least half of them don't have any humanity. I've been past that, as the young people say.
Like calling and saying, I really want change. That's not going to do anything.
Expecting them to have humanity and decency, that's out the window. It's clear. We find that on a daily basis when Congress people are mocking another Congress member's death, the death of, we're past humanity. Hit them in the purse. Tell them they're going to lose their job in Congress. Tell them that the things that they have there, it's somebody smarter than me, because I'm not that person, but somebody that knows where's their stock money at. Okay, we're going to hit these places.
Then that recycles till they so old that it don't even matter. But anyway,
they're old, but they're still greedy. But they're still greedy. And they got kids and grandkids. And some of them actually do. A lot of them don't. A lot of them don't care anything about their kids and grandkids, because that's where we're at with this Congress. But some of them do care about, and then their kids and grandkids care. Like one of the women's right to vote. If I'm remembering the story correctly, somebody do the research, because I'm drawing on some things. If I'm not mistaken, when they were voting whether to give women the right to vote, one of the final votes, if not the final vote that got casted, that pushed it over the hump, was from a young man. I'm saying young, I don't know how old the man was, but was from a man who, when he was going off to vote, his mother wrote him a note explaining to him why he needed to vote in favor of women having the right to vote, and stuck it in his pocket, jacket pocket. He read that note. If y'all check me, because I think I have this correct. I'm not a historian, but he read that note and cast his vote the way he cast it because his mother had wrote him a note, and it appealed to, this is why why women need the right to vote. It don't take. Sometimes, but in the Christian community, we always say you can get 1,000,000 no's. It don't take but one yes sometimes. So I'm going to stand on continuing to look for that yes. And like I said, I personally would rather die on my feet than live on my knees. And there's a lot of people like me out there. They might not even be being vocal, but there's a lot of us that would rather die on our feet than live on our knees. So we just have to get every day. If I was at the point where you're talking, we just need to just forget about it and wait what happened. If everybody takes that attitude, we're going to stay stuck. But if everybody decides, hey, you know what? The people that are supposed to be looking out for us are not looking out for us, and we're going to get rid of them. We're going to get them out of Congress. We're going to get them out of office. We're not going to stand for this. I still hold on. The Christian in me still is going to hold on to the hand of the Lord and say, some of this is going to change, and it's going to change. It may take a while. It might not be right away, but it's going to change. That's where I'm at.
Okay. We've been talking about this 30 minutes, so we're going to move on now.
Yeah.
I didn't want to interrupt you because some of you were talking about we talk over each other.
Chicha.
But
I
anyway,
don't know what she was on.
So let me put you on. This will be quick because there's not much to say about it. But Primark, if you a brokey, I don't mean that in a negative connotation. I mean that in
if you're budget conscious, that's what she meant to say. If you're budget conscious,
it's a great place to get a whole bunch of stuff. And if you're a Disney adult or you have kids that love Disney, there's a whole Disney section, and it really is like, it's an international store. I forget what country it originated in, but it's at the Florida Mall in Orlando. I think there's other locations across the country. Mm-hmm. They have an entire Disney section in the Florida Mall location where you can get Disney shirts, Disney bags, Disney knickknacks, Disney pajamas.
They got anime stuff in there.
They have a lot of anime stuff. They have a whole men's section with like the NBA, NFL, hockey, like all the sports teams.
There's music, like if you are a fan of they have a lot of graphic tees with that stuff.
If you need a bikini tee, they got plenty of options.
Activewear.
Activewear. Yeah, if you need like some lingerie, something.
Even household items. Potpourri, like a whole lot of stuff. Travel stuff.
The quality ain't that great, But all of the stuff is like $3, $4, $5,
Yeah.
$10. So it's one of those places where you can stock up on stuff that you're like the basics, like a white T-shirt or something like
Yeah.
that. Something that you're
If
gonna
you're
have to
looking
get
for
over and
something
over
to
again.
wear like a couple times and you want to get a quick outfit to put together, you can go there.
Exactly. Or if you got to run to the beach and you just go ahead and like throw something on or whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, so moving on to, oh, you know what? I didn't even get into my new hair.
Oh
I
my
have to talk about my new
God.
hair because y'all gonna be seeing this more often.
Mm-hmm.
So also let me put y'all onto the boho braids. Very cute, very tea, very summer. I know you don't care about that.
I don't.
So anyway, what had happened was we had several options today for a lot of our topics, but the one that I thought would be a good talker because we didn't experience this in terms of we're not wealthy, but we experienced it in terms of me going to school and talking about like you saving for my school before I was college age and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so People magazine reported that a teen discovered that their wealthy parents didn't save any money for them for college, and they expected them basically to earn a scholarship. And people were arguing about whether that teen was entitled to just expect that their rich parents were just going to hand them a check to pay for school, or if they should have been prepared to earn certain grades to get the scholarships to be able to afford their education. So what do you think? As somebody that told me that you didn't do those saving for school because I needed to get a scholarship,
That's right.
I assume that you agree with these wealthy parents.
Well, first of all, when they say they didn't save for them to go to school, if they're wealthy, they didn't need to say like they just got money. Like that's a difference. I'm working class, so I would have had to save for you to go to school. And when I said I didn't save for you to go to school, that wasn't exactly true. There was money that you could have used to go to school, but I wasn't saving to pay for your entire education. Yeah. My father taught us when we were at home, if you want to go to college, you start showing that in public school. Like you start showing that. And he was like, if you're not going to do it when it's free, why am I going to pay for you to go? That's the way our family operates. If you want to go to college, you got to show with your performance in public school with your grades that you want to go. And if you do that, most of the time, at least in the past, I don't know how things are going to be in the future, but in the past, if you do that, you're going to be eligible.
And specifically here in Florida, because I don't know how other states work, but
Right,
Florida has a lot of opportunity.
Futures is going to take care of you. So like if you do what you're supposed to do, you're going to get some scholarship money, and then I would have been prepared to help fill in the gaps where the scholarship money didn't. Thank God, because I did my job well. You went straight through and didn't have to. We didn't have to come out of pocket. No debt. Walked across the stage with a job and no debt.
And a car, thanks to you.
It can be done. So what I did was I had a little money off to the side to supplement if you needed supplementing, you did not. So just like my mom did for me, because I got a similar scholarship, same school. I used the money that I would have used for you to go to school to pay for you a car. I felt like you had
by yourself, might I add?
Yeah, by myself,
with no assistance.
Because I didn't get any assistance, but that's all right. I'm that girl. So I decided, okay, you pay for school, I will pay for your car, because I felt like you had earned that. You know, you mouthed in now, but back then you weren't mouthed in. You're like you didn't give me any there was no reason. So back to these people. Number one, if they are wealthy, they're not saving for college. They already got the money for college. I also feel like if you are a well-off parent, but your kids are not doing anything to show that they're trying in school, you don't owe it to them to pay for them to go to college. No.
I don't know what state they're in. I don't know how difficult it is to get scholarship money. I don't know their situation, whatever. But I mean, that's my plan for my kids. I'm not saving. I mean, I'm going to save money for their future.
To help them out if they need it.
Like, putting a little something together so that way it can be generating interest or whatever. But either way, their dad going to be athletic. They're going to be smart. Like, they're going to either get a sports or an academic scholarship.
I personally
will make something shake.
Paying for somebody to go to college that didn't try in high school is asinine. That's just my personal opinion.
Now, I do think there are extenuating circumstances where they might be at a bad school, where they didn't get a lot of opportunity.
There are some situations.
Or they had like a learning disability and they didn't get the proper help. Something like that.
Yeah, that's different. But I really do feel like, because I told you, if you had not gotten scholarship money, you would have to work and help yourself, and then I would have supplemented. Like I would have stepped in and tried to help you once I saw you putting forth effort. I do not think that parents are required or should automatically have to pay for college for their kids.
Now, what I do think is that if you're not going to pay for their college, because most people don't have the money to just pay for a child's tuition,
because it's expensive.
School, I think you need to be doing everything in the best of your ability to set them up to where college is going to be as easiest as possible.
So it's
with
attainable for
with the
them.
brain that they have. Because I feel like a lot of parents screw their kids over by not, and like some parents just don't know because they didn't go to college, so they don't know how it works. And
Yeah.
a lot of kids are first generation. Luckily, I wasn't in that situation. We went to the exact same school. You knew the ropes. You knew what to do. You were a teacher. Like you knew all of the stuff. But I feel like as a parent, it's your responsibility. I'm gonna be on the Googler if Google still exists. When I
Ask
have
questions.
what scholarships are available, what programs can I get them in, what sports can they play to get the best scholarships. Oh, you can get a golf scholarship. Sign them up for golf.
Church children that sing in church, can they get a scholarship for singing? Can they get a piano playing scholarship?
I knew that USF had scholarships. That's where I went to school. Go Bulls! I knew that I would have bright futures because of my grades, thanks to you making sure I met all the requirements and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But there were a lot of small. Like I think I got a scholarship from the AKAs. I got a scholarship from the NAACP.
You got a scholarship from your the college that you were going into.
I got a scholarship. Shout out BLN. Thank you, Mr. Jennings. Shout out to him. I got a scholarship from BLN.
The Zimmerman School gave you a scholarship
from the Zimmerman School.
Like I got
the Emma Bowen scholarship. Like
that.
There were so many things that I knew existed. Because
and let me say this before we forget. Even once your kids are accepted into school with scholarships, they can apply for additional scholarships every year, which you did, which is why you came out debt-free and you kind of made money to go to school.
And that's the other thing, that a lot of people that haven't gone to college before, haven't had parents that go to college, they don't know that when you get that scholarship money, and if you're eligible, make sure you do FAFSA, get that Pell Grant if you're eligible.
Well, this
it might be a little bit different now.
Trying to get rid of that, but anyway.
Like the Pell Grant, when you get a scholarship, that is your money. So once
pay for your classes and stuff first, though.
Well, no, it's automatic.
Okay.
Unless you get like a check handed to you by a third party. If you have a scholarship from school, Bright Futures, or like an organization, they take all of your money out first. And obviously, if you have rent or something outside of the school, you need to make sure you handle your business, a car payment, whatever. But that excess money just goes to you.
And you gotta use it responsibly, which you did. Because once they took out your tuition and books and all of that, the money, then you knew that you needed the rest of it for rent.
Exactly.
Because like if you don't have that built into your scholarship, I have
a little bit left over for like food and stuff.
But yeah, like so you literally went through. And then also, let's not just dwell on college. Trade schools, vocational schools. If your kid is not academically inclined, like if books are not their thing, but they're very hands-on, trade schools also offer scholarships. And I believe Bright Futures can be used for some trade schools.
So
like, you need to do all of that. And then,
or even community college. Everybody be sleeping on community. Start at the community college.
It's cheaper. Do those first 2 years at a community college.
Look into dual enrollment when you're in high school. If that's not an option at your school, or you can do it, whatever. Instead of going straight to university, especially if your parents are not helping you, start at a community college. I went to school with so many people that transferred from their local community colleges. And there was no stigma. There was no shame. We all the same.
No, because that's smart.
We all here together.
That's smart.
So I feel like people just need to be a little bit smarter. And there's no reason to go into a whole bunch
questions.
of that.
If you don't know what to do, ask questions. Do not suffer because of lack of knowledge.
Unless you're going to be a doctor or a lawyer, there's no reason to graduate with debt. Because there's so many opportunities out there. Unless you have some extenuating
and you may graduate with debt, but make sure it's minimal debt.
I will also say that my job was to do well at school, so I didn't have a job and I didn't have to worry about grades because I could focus all of my energy on that grade, on my grades. Where a lot of people that I knew, their grades weren't as high because they were working. So like, they could have got an A in the class if they did all assignments, but they had to go to work, so they got a D.
But do the most you can to help yourself. Research, ask questions. Do not just throw in the towel and say it's not possible, because it's absolutely possible for you to go and either come out debt free or with minimal debt, but just do it strategically. And
it just benefits you so much, because now I'm earning money, ching, and it's just going in the bank. And
because I'm still making the car payment, but I said I would and I do.
I mean, I pay the car insurance.
You didn't even know you were paying it until I told you. But
see, that's how blessed I am, because my money just go in the bank and you just took it out and I didn't miss it.
I sure did. I was like, I said I was buying this car. I ain't say I was paying for this insurance.
Well, my money will just be sitting tight until it's time for marriage and home buying and babies and all of that.
Yeah.
So anyway, Ask a Gemini. I feel like this is such a long episode. We've already been yapping for like 40 minutes.
All right, go.
But anyway, Ask a Gemini. Once again, we had a lot of different options, but I just ripped this right off the shade room. Thank y'all. Somebody tweeted, "Do you guys believe the we experience people differently narrative?" I definitely do. Mm-hmm. Do you think that there is some truth to you don't necessarily get the same person depending on who's dealing.
Absolutely. There are people that think I'm literally angelic. There are people that don't think I
I don't
say
know why they
bad
think
words.
that.
I had one of my coworkers say, because I said something about coming from a family of cussologists, and he was like, "You don't even look like you say curse words," and I almost passed out.
Where they got that from?
Because, like I said, I come from a family of cussologists, but I tell my students this: I am who you let me be to you. So I can be Claire Huxtable from The Cosby Show, or I can be Medea. You decide. You decide who you want to deal with, because I treat you the way you treat me. So you're going to get a different me depending on who you are.
I feel like you realize that statement is true of like people are different depending on who they're around, whatever. When people say stuff to me and I'm just like, that's what you think? Because I hear conflicting things depending on, like, if I'm at work, I'm not a completely different person in terms of like completely different morals and values.
But just you conduct yourself
I conduct
differently.
myself differently because I'm at work. Like, duh. If I'm with my friends, I'm gonna act differently with my homegirls versus when I'm with my boyfriend.
Because you can let your hair down. Like, you can be how you don't have to be as guarded. You don't have to be professional.
We can be in the car singing WAP loud as we want with my best friends, but I'm gonna be in the car and be like, a pretty little passenger princess with my boyfriend, because it's a different relationship. And I feel like some people take that as you being two-faced. But I think
it's not.
It's just reading the room.
Well, it's just like I tell my kids all the time, my students.
I was about to say, get it right.
Yeah, because I knew you was going to say something.
And I don't care if they're watching this either. Y'all are not her kids. Because I know they be watching.
Anyway, I tell them I'm their teacher. I'm a coworker. I'm a mother.
Yeah.
I'm a daughter. I'm an aunt. All of those are me. But each one of those required that I behave and conduct myself differently. So, if I'm with, for instance, in the little bit of dating that I have done outside of being married, if I'm with somebody that has their stuff together and that can handle everything, then I'm going to sit back and I'm going to let them handle it. Mm-hmm. But by no means am I going to be with a Dusty that don't know what he's doing and let him drag me down.
And I think
I'm not going to do that. I'm going to speak up. I'm going to say that's not going to work, or, hey, that's going to hurt me. Like, I'm not. So it depends on who I'm with and how they conduct themselves. When I'm with you, we argue all the time, but I can say, hey, we're going to do da-da-da-da. You might come back with da-da-da. We'll work it out. Let's go. I like traveling with you. I like doing stuff with you. People will see that I do a lot of stuff with you because we're most of the time of the same mind. And if we're not, we can fight it out and still love each other, keep moving. I don't like to do stuff with other people sometimes because
your personality has to
like,
be
when
on.
I get somewhere, I'm a small bladder girl. I got to go to the bathroom. I might be with somebody that's used to going once a day, and they're irritated because I got to go. If I'm with you, I can say, hey, you got to go. You're going to say, yeah. And it's like, okay, let's go. It all depends on how that person is.
I feel like some people get offended, like with friends or with relationships where like a guy could see you in a certain light of being like I was told a lot that I was bossy and harsh.
Shocking.
Whatever. But my boyfriend don't think that. I mean, he probably thinks I'm bossy.
That's because he's so laid back.
But and that's why it's like different people bring out different sides of your personality. He chill, so I'm chill.
He's chill, and I'll give him credit for this. He's chill, but he will correct you. Like when you go too far, he'll be like,
it doesn't escalate the situation.
He doesn't escalate, but he like, easy.
No, he'll be like, why do you have an attitude?
Like, why you
and
then
I'm reflecting.
Which is so funny because I'm looking at him. It's like, why you so, like, why? But yeah, like
where you will just give me an attitude.
like I told you, I match energy. You hollering at me, I'm hollering at you. Like, what? Who you talking to, boo? So it takes different people for you to, like, it takes all kinds. And even with my mom, I can, like, we match energy. I can argue with you like cats and dogs, like, and we still good. My mom is a little bit more sensitive. Now, she gonna stand her ground, but she's a little bit more sensitive, and she'll be like, I don't even know why you have to act like that. Like, she's that, where you be like.
Where I was just like, yeah.
Yeah. So I think to say that people are different with different people, that's not fake. That's just
and even with
matching
your friends,
energy in a certain kind of way.
My friends come from all walks of life. I got friends that have experienced a little bit of everything. And it's like, with my Black friends specifically, I'm going to be a little bit different.
You're a little bit blacker when you're with Black people.
Exactly. Like, there's just like, because you with kinfolk, you're with family. Like, there's a certain level of, like, comfort
most
that you
Black
don't.
People, because all skin folks ain't kinfolks.
There's a level of, even, like, with my bestest friends, there's a certain level of black that I'm just not gonna get with them. I mean, I get
Some
I
of it
get
is because
I
they
get it
won't.
like that.
They by them not being black, they may not understand it or appreciate it. Not in a negative
Yeah,
way, just and
exactly.
they don't have that frame of reference. So like,
And that
it's
doesn't
pointless
diminish
to
the
be.
fact that they're my best friends. It's just we aren't
And very
within the
much,
same
even though
culture.
they're not black, very much allies. Like
Shapora
very
has
much
went to
allies.
plenty of. I just took her.
Chapora is honorary. Like she is in
No,
there.
because at any point throughout our whole college experience, if I was doing something and it's like, oh, I don't want to go by myself, and I'll be like, do you want to go?
She's in there.
She's kicking with my friends like they her
She
friends.
is in there.
I just took her to a
Shapora
basketball game the
is-
other day, and she was having the time of her
Yeah,
life.
she's the person that when somebody don't like her, I don't like them. Like, what you
Because, like, what's
mean?
wrong with you?
Like, what's wrong with you? Because she is just so bubbly and so happy go lucky. Like she likes everybody. And you know, I tell my students, me at work is not me at home.
It's really not.
It's two different people, but the same person. I need to be I'm trying to teach you how to be professional when I'm teaching you at school. When I'm home,
and I
I'm
feel
home.
like this might be a little controversial.
Oh my God.
But I feel like people of specific cultures, there is no need to code switch for them.
Because the code is based on them.
So it throws them off when they see you acting outside. Like people all the time that I like work with, they're like CR or whatever, they'll be like, oh, I saw your TikTok, you act so different. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not code switching on TikTok.
Well, and even some people would find it controversial to code switch. It's just like you don't go in church with booty shorts on. Like you conduct yourself based on where you are.
Like as somebody that has grown up in majority like white spaces my entire life, just because that's just what happened.
That's
like I grew up in the suburbs. I was in programs or I was the only minority in a lot of cases or whatever. I feel like there's a certain level of exhaustion of not wanting to, and I don't think anybody that I deal with is racist or that they would understand, but I don't like having to explain my culture, and I don't like having to explain myself and break down my lingo, and even like sometimes it's not even code switching because I'm black, sometimes it's code switching because I'm young.
Or what group, even within our family, there is certain stuff that we know and can say to each other that somebody on the outside is not going to know. Like, why is that funny? Like certain words like the fish died, for instance, will crack you up. Other people are like, what? Like, why is that funny? And we have to explain. Yeah. When your grandmother asks, are y'all going by that restaurant? Oh my God. Like we know why that is hilarious, but other people don't. So like, it's not so much being fake or not being genuine.
You have different experiences.
You just adjust to your surroundings. That's what that is.
Different experiences with different people, different strokes for different folks.
Yeah.
Tomato, tomato, all of the metaphors.
Pecan and pecan, it's that. It's pretty much that. Yeah.
Pecan supremacy. No, I don't even like pecans. But anyway, Gemini Jim, as we wrap up this show, would you like to go first?
Sure. So it's kind of insect season in a certain kind. It's summertime.
I don't know why I thought you were about to say insects.
Oh my God. It's insect season. So you're going to be throwing away things. You're going to have flies, gnats, that kind of thing. If you want to minimize the number of pests that are around your garbage can and things in the house and outside the house, sprinkle some spices. Sprinkle some cinnamon, sprinkle some pepper, sprinkle some cayenne pepper specifically, and it's supposed to reduce the number of pests that will find your garbage attractive. It will not be their smorgasbord or buffet if you sprinkle something in there that irritates their senses. Also, if it's the outside trash can, it will keep other critters, mice, rats, raccoons, possums, whatever. They will not like that smell. It will irritate their nose, and you'll less likely have an invasion. So that's my Gemini.
Season that garbage. So as y'all know, if you are a girl that gets blowouts or any type of hairstyle, you can use the shower cap to protect you from the rain. If you're a sneakerhead, you can use the shower cap to protect your shoes, but you can also use the shower cap to protect your food during this hot summer weather where, just like you were saying, the insects are out, the love bugs, the flies, the mosquitoes.
Picnic barbecue.
But if you want to keep your food covered and still be able to see what's being served on the plates or whatever, even if you have a little dessert, a little parfait, a little cupcake, put a shower cap over it. Yeah. I mean, yes, it's made for your
clean new shower cap.
Yes, it's made for your hair, but like at the end of the day, it's a piece of plastic.
Yeah, and it it will conform to the shape of the the dish or whatever and stuff. And easy access.
I always keep a shower cap in my bag. I always have a shower cap.
Always,
because as you can see, I like to do my hair, and I'm not trying to let it get messed up in the rain.
So shower cap. At the picnic, barbecue, shower cap in your purse. Like, and then, it comes in handy.
You might have to flip that thing over if it start raining. Put it on your head.
Oh my gosh.
But with
Anyway.
that being said, with that being said, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Period.